we all came together, people from all over the world who have been leaders in the raw food movement for many years, and we came up with what we considered to be the standards. And there were people from 8 countries with a combined total of 411 years following this kind of lifestyle. And it wasn't one particular lifestyle. There were people just who represented across the board the different kinds of raw food diets that I just mentioned, all the way from fruitarianism to a more relaxed raw food approach, raw food enthusiast approach. And I'm just going to read to you what some of those optimum diet for health and longevity guidelines are. Would you like me to do that? Okay, because this was a great compilation, and it's something that we spent several days coming up with, and this is the kind of the crux of it. The optimal diet for health and longevity. So if you want to take notes, you can, and I'll say it kind of slowly. First of all, vegan. That means no animal products of any kind, either cooked or raw. Now, there are some people who do eat raw meat, but we don't consider that to be health promoting. There are too many bacteria in meat. There are too many other disadvantages of eating meat, not just to your own health, but globally. So we don't consider that to be part of an optimal diet. Organic, absolutely. Most of you probably agree. And now we have so many guidelines for organic that we can feel pretty safe that if something says it's organic, certified organic, that it is. Biodynamic, even better. Veganic, the best of all. So veganic meaning grown without animal fertilizers or anything of that nature. But organic, absolutely. And if you can't afford to eat organic all the time, then go online and find out. There are lists all over that will tell you what the absolute safest non-organic fruits and vegetables are, and then you can make your choices. There are many plants that really don't require a lot of spraying, and so many times they don't even bother certifying them. And there are others that are very dangerous, like strawberries. You can't peel them, right? And the pesticides just go right through. So that's a very important thing, as organic as you can possibly choose for your foods. Whole foods as much as possible. Whole foods as much as possible. So again, the fractional fats should be limited because you want the whole food. And if you're going to have some olive oil on your salad, have some whole olives also on your salad. So you'll be getting some of the whole food, and it can work synergistically. Foods that are high in nutrition, such as vitamins, antioxidants, and phytonutrients. Those are important. So in other words, not foods with empty calories, but foods that are high in nutrients. Also, foods that contain a significant amount of minerals, like greens. The green foods are very high in minerals. They also are very high in phytonutrients, antioxidants, vitamins, proteins, calcium. And so make green your favorite color, I always say. And so containing a significant amount of minerals could also be sea vegetables. I mentioned that earlier. Also, foods containing a significant quantity of highly nutritious green foods. So that could be fresh green foods. It could also be, as I mentioned before, wheatgrass juice, E3 live, or other kinds of blue-green algae, spirulina, chlorella, any of those kinds of powders. I really love Vitamineral Green and have that in my smoothie every day, and we serve that to our students every day, along with the blue-green algae. Also, foods that contain a large proportion of high water content foods, or a diet, that contains a large proportion of high water content foods. And that means things that are dehydrated, for example, or even root vegetables that don't have a lot of water, as much moisture in them, would be more limited. And you would have foods that have more of the water content in them. And also foods along that same line that provide excellent hydration. Too many of us are dehydrated. It is a huge problem. And sometimes it's more of a problem than what you've been eating. If you feel a little bit sleepy, a little bit listless, you can't think clearly, it may actually be because you're dehydrated. If you get stressed out easily, if you feel emotional, if you're not sleeping well, it could actually be because you're dehydrated. So you can almost not drink too much or have too many high water content foods. Really, really important. We also all believed that you want to have a diet that includes some vegetable juices. Because in today's world, with all the stress that we have, including pollution and all the kind of work that we do that's so mental now, it's not like it used to be. It's not. We're living in a world that our bodies weren't actually designed for. This all happened really quickly, and we're still evolving. And so we need to make sure that we get as many nutrients as we can to ward off stress. So vegetable juices can really help with that. Also, a diet that contains all the essential fatty acids, including omega-3 fatty acids from naturally occurring plant sources. So, omega-3 fatty acids don't just come in fish oils, which a lot of fish oil companies would like us to believe. We can get all of the essential fatty acids we need from our plant sources, and some of the vegetables that we get a lot of omega-3 fatty acids from could be flax, hemp, chia, walnuts. So there's a lot of foods that will provide us with the omega-3 fatty acids that we need. Another thing that we all decided and agreed to was that an optimal diet was at least 80% uncooked. At least 80% raw, with the remainder of the diet being still vegan, whole food, and organic. So if you're going to eat a baked yam, actually steaming is the better choice, better than baking, because steaming does not create acrylamides, because the temperature of hot water can only go so high before it evaporates, whereas you can bake something or fry something or grill something, and acrylamides, which are cancer-creating, will still be created. So if you're going to eat cooked vegetables, steam them. It's a much better choice. And then make a delicious sauce to go over them in case you think that they're not so tasty. And we can teach you how to do that. Also, a diet that has moderate yet adequate calories. Now, we can't say what that means because that's going to depend on what your lifestyle is. If you exercise a lot, like your Dr. Douglas Graham, you're going to have to eat 15 bananas when you sit down to a meal because you need those calories. But somebody else who sits at a desk all day long maybe can only eat 2 bananas, and their body tells them that I can't eat more than 2 bananas and I'm full, because they don't need that many calories. So if you're maintaining your weight, then you're probably getting sufficient calories. And if you're getting sufficient calories, you're probably getting sufficient protein, but not necessarily. You need to make sure that you're getting enough greens to get enough protein. Another thing that was recommended was that you have a diet that contains low to moderate sugar, exclusively from whole food sources. So that means that you're not getting it from concentrated sugars, which can cause a lot of problems. So whole food sugars are the best source. Now, there are some sweeteners that people are using today, that especially in culinary arts, that are very concentrated, and you want to use them minimally along with whole fruit sweeteners, like dates are a good whole fruit sweetener, for example. They're very sweet. And you can up the sweetness by adding agave nectar, which is low on the glycemic index. As far as sweeteners, concentrated sweeteners go, that would be a good choice. So low to moderate sugar. So those of you who have sweet tooths, just start eating a little bit less, and you'll find that after a while you can't eat as much as you used to. That's the way we change our habits and our tastes, is by just making small changes at a time. Nobody expects that you have to make it all at once, or at least here at Living Light, we don't expect that. You also want a diet that is nutritionally optimal for both detoxification and rebuilding. And so, and that, again, is going to depend on how much detoxification and rebuilding you require. If you are healthy to begin with, you don't need as much rebuilding as if you have had a very a terminal disease or something, and you're coming back from that. Now, the word terminal makes you think that you're going to die, and sometimes many people are told that they have terminal illnesses, and yet they come back by changing their diet. How many of you know somebody that's happened to? Yeah, okay, about half the room. has known somebody that had a so-called terminal dis-ease and they were brought back, it was reversed as a result of a raw food diet. And I'm sure that it wasn't just a raw food diet, it was a very conscious raw food diet, but nonetheless, just taking away the foods that created the problem in the first place can get them on the road to good health.